Well, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube followers, on my channel I show the hits and the misses. We learn something from both of them. If we're successful on a hit, you get to see it. If unfortunately a miss happens, you get to see that also. Food plotting, like I've always stated, you can do everything right and it still can go south on you. That's what we're going to talk about here today, is my power plant. And sadly to say, it has went south. I'm mowing it down today. It's heavily infested with velvet leaf and water hemp. And I'll pan over here and show you here what I'm talking about. This is the velvet leaf. You can see how tall it is. This particular right here is the water hemp. Highly resistant to Roundup. That's one Achilles heel about power plant. You're basically planting weeds. Now, if I would have elected to disc the soil several times, let that germinate and then disc it out and disc it out, it would have been well into June before I got it in the ground. And down here in southern Iowa, as the jet stream moves from the south to the north, you get the rain in the spring early, and then the jet stream moves north and the people up north in Iowa get the rain. And down here in southern Iowa it comes extremely dry. Therefore, it's really hard and temperamental to get this power plant to grow. But this is completely inundated with water hemp. I mean, this stuff is, that's how tall it is. This is not sun hemp, this is water hemp. There's no forage beans in there. Oh, I guess I shouldn't say that, there are some. But I cannot let this seed bank germinate. Each one of these put out millions of seeds on their own. And I noticed that when I started planting power plant, that water hemp was becoming a problem because I couldn't use a herbicide on it. I don't have a grass problem, so that Arrest Max is not going to help in my situation. I have a broadleaf problem. So keep that in mind. You're basically planting weeds when you plant power plant. Sun hemp, that's a weed. Right along with the sunflowers. Most farmers will shoot you if you bring sunflowers on their property, because once they get there, they keep having, each year they come back and stronger. So we're going to mow this off today, and like I said, you can do everything right and it can still go wrong. And you've seen us till it up, you've seen us put the 400 pounds of triple 13 on it per acre, and that too helped this grow. That's what makes these grow just that much better. Now I got some sunflowers in here, but they're not, they've been dwarfed out by this weed crop. So just keep that in mind. In the Midwest, I would say power plant is definitely a summertime crop. It has no spring value. But you can see here up close where these are going to start making seed on this velvet leaf and reproduce itself. Same way with this water hemp, it'll go to seed. So I got to mow it off now. I cannot let it get any farther along. So like I said, this channel is open and honest. There's no bullshit here, it's just fact, Jack. The only bullshit that's on this channel is when I put it on my face to go for cover up. And but I'm going to pan around here and you can see how intensified these weeds took this over with. That's solid. I'm out here in it. We'll walk out here in it. I can look down in here. Yeah, there are some forage beans in here. And they would use these weeds as a trellis effect. That's what the sun hemp and the sunflowers are all about. But I cannot let this weed bank multiply because it's basically shut out. Now, like I say, right there is your forage bean. And it's up there, and it would keep growing, but at what cost? I mean, as you can see, we're out here and getting out here in the middle, and there's a sunflower right there. One sunflower. As we come on out, there's another sunflower. But now we're into weeds that are chest high. Pure weeds. Pure weeds. So like I said, there are beans in there. I can see them down in there right there. Those are your forage beans, and they're trying to grow up through there, but they're really canopied out by the sun, and it's just not worth this seed bank getting any farther, because we're, as you can see, it's a jungle, all right. It's a jungle of weeds, pure weeds. And I wish my money could multiply as fast as these weeds did, but like I say, that's something. Now, here's something interesting right here. There is a deer bed. For you guys that are running around chopping trees down and stuff, a deer is bedded right in there. That's one thing a power plant talks about. You can see it's all hollowed out. But, and here's some of this stuff getting ready to go to seed right here. I cannot let this continue. I've got to eradicate it, and I got to eradicate it now. Because as you've walked through here, now we get out here on the ends, here's a sunflower. Now you can see how small this sunflower is. And it's going to go to head, so it's not going to get much bigger. Just tons and tons of undesirable broadleaf weeds. So keep that in mind. I planted a power plant and had good results, but for the last 2 years it's went south, and I know those forage beans are in there, but I can't risk enhancing that weed bank. That's just, like I said, we just walked through it. There's a sunflower head right there, you know, and I can show you. We'll nip this off if I can. Okay. Sorry about the video. Let's walk out here and compare this to a velvet leaf. This is pure water hemp. This water hemp right here is up to my chin. I'm 5'11", and that's how deep intensified this water hemp is. It's got to go. Herbicide's not going to kill it. I want to get it chopped out of here before it gets to seed. Now let's walk down here and I'll show you velvet leaf versus sunflowers. Here's the standing velvet leaf right here, right there, and you can see the velvet leaf dwarfs by a good 6-8 inches the height of the mature sunflower. So let's get to mowing. The good and the bad and the ugly, and you're seeing the ugly right here. And like I said, I'm not down, I'll tear it out of here, plant a fall annual. But I've got to get this seed bank under control. Now, this better dramatizes what we're talking about. Those velvet leaf are taller than the tires on that tractor. And you can look in here from the side, and all it's in there is weeds. Weeds, weeds, weeds. There would be your forage bean right there. And I hate taking them out, but like I said, when you have weeds that tall, that's not sun hemp, that's water hemp. I'll show you some sun hemp when I find some, but the water, I think here's your sun hemp over here. There would be your sun hemp that's supposed to be in there, and then here is your water hemp, which was supposed to be there. Water hemp, which took over. And both of them are weeds. So let's get them cropped out of here. You gotta know when to hold them. You gotta know when to fold them. You gotta know when to mow them. You gotta know when to walk away. Oh well. Let's get them mowed. You learn by your mistakes, and I didn't think I made a mistake here, because like I say, the beans are in there, and they're coming up, but I cannot have that big of a crop of broadleaf weeds. There's no way. That's one Achilles heel about power plant. You cannot use a broadleaf herbicide on it. Like I say, there's no grass in there. We sprayed that with the Rest Max, and there's no grasses in there, so that's not, the grass wasn't the problem. It's the broadleaf weed devastation, infestation. And I mean, like I said, you can just barely see the top of that tractor back there. Well, let's get it done. I hope you all learned something from that. I'm not a pro at any means. I never stated I was, but I'm just like you guys. You try your best, and it can go south on you, and you just got to man and woman up, and like Hayden Fry, the coach of Iowa Hawkeyes, used to say, if after a loss, we'll go back and reload. And it's reloading time right now. Well, I'm standing right here where I thought on January 9th of 2016, I did everything right. You people that have followed my YouTube channel, you've seen that deer that I shot basically right in here, right there. I had the same enthusiasm about that deer succumbing to death as what I had the same enthusiasm about that power plant that we just mowed down, prospering and growing tons of high protein forage beans. Unfortunately, you've seen, right along with me, the results. So even when you do everything right, from launching an arrow to sowing a seed, there's no guarantees in life, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to drive that home to you new food plot enthusiasts. You're going to have successes and you're going to have failures. But you're going to learn right along with that. Mowing that down, yeah, there was some sarcasm to it. Not the money value. I was really looking forward to a grandiose crop of sunflowers, pollinators on them, honeybees, whatever. I left a few on up the way where it was pretty good stand. I don't know how that'll come out, but like I said, I'm not really down in the dumps about the money. I definitely, you got to put forth the effort, monetary value also. Results, yeah, they were a bummer. But that's food plotting 101. It don't get no better than that. And so without any more rambling from the non-typical Norwalkian, just remember, makes life interesting. There's no sure bets on anything. From launching an arrow, as I said earlier, to sowing the seed. So that's it from the non-typical Norwalkian.